Cool, so I ordered myself a cheap Chinese Hetfield knockoff ESP on AliExpress, just because. So I don't really know what to expect. In my experience, you get what you pay for, so let's find out. Genuinely impressed with this packaging, actually. It's solid. I've just cut all the tape up, so let's lift up this bit, see what happens. Ah, that's upside down. Cool, yeah, so they've got it in like a bag. All right, here's the moment of truth. Oh my goodness, just rip it, David. Okay, wow, on first glimpse, it actually looks like a fantastic guitar. I mean, I obviously won't know until I play it. I can't imagine they're really MGs. Check out the inlays. Hell yeah. And it's got the ESP custom, which is totally legit, of course. Wow. I mean, that looks fantastic. I'm gonna suss it out. I'm gonna take it in the studio, actually have a play on it, and I'll give you guys my real opinion later. Hey, hope you're all doing well. So yeah, here it is. My cheap 100% knockoff man-to-wolf ESP custom Explorer. Now, I got this, like I said at the beginning, from AliExpress. The price was $451, I think, and I ended up paying $496 with shipping. Now, I'm a firm believer that you do get what you pay for, and in this example, you definitely get what you pay for. Right there, you can see there is my order. The Guitar Village store from China. Yeah, $451 was the listing price and $496 roughly was what I paid once shipping happened. And if you have a look here, the listing is no longer available. So you will have to do a look around to find it elsewhere. Let's just actually have a look. Well, here you go. There's actually quite a few listings. And they're a little bit cheaper than what I paid. Yeah. So that right there is more or less exactly what I got. And look, first of all, AliExpress, I totally rate it. I mean, this showed up within a week. I've also since bought some lights from AliExpress and they're cheap, they're affordable, but the quality of the lights that I've got is insane. I'm going to do another video on that. That's a whole other story. In terms of this guitar, it looks very much deceiving. To play it was absolute rubbish. The parts are cheap, the pickups were fake EMGs, the finish is gloss, and I'm going to assume it's some kind of cheap poly. I've moved the strap buttons and the paint chips and peels away really easily. And that's where I moved the strap button from. You can see what I'm talking about with the paint. It's chipped away, and that's sort of the paint that I've been talking about. But the fretboard was probably the part that was the worst of the whole thing. I could physically feel the strings catching and rubbing on the frets themselves, and obviously some of the edges were not smooth, they were rough and they were sticking out, so they hadn't been done properly. This was very much just a let's build the guitar and let's throw some parts on it to make it look like the real thing. Can't give you an exact weight, but it's light and it's very top heavy. So I have moved the strap button from here into the back and from this point here further up to there, and I popped strap locks on it as well. So if it's so bad, why would I bother putting strap locks on it and trying to go to the effort to make it playable? That's because I gave it to my guy to replace all the parts, fix the fretboard, and try to do something cool with it. And I'll tell you now, he's done an amazing job. Pete at Orthius Guitars, he also has Vintage Guitar Finishing Co. I'm not sure if he has a website for that yet or social pages, but I'll put some links down the bottom for you if he does. He's based in the Blue Mountains in New South Wales. He does all that custom hand relicking stuff. He did my Eat Fuck James Hetfield Explorer, and it looks phenomenal. Love his work, and he's done an amazing bang-up job on this one as well. So first of all, to get it sounding good, We replaced it out with the EMG headset and got rid of those fakies altogether. All of the parts have been replaced. New bridge, new tailpiece, all the electronics that go with the EMG headset, obviously the two knobs, and just switching between bridge and neck. He installed some Goto locking tuners and it now holds tune amazingly. He even replaced the nut because it was a plastic piece of crap. We didn't replace the frets. All he did was file them back and make them usable and playable. And in his words, the frets were munted. They were no good. They were complete crap. But now he stuck down the parts that were sticking out. The edges are really smooth and it actually plays really smooth as well. The action is quite amazing. It's actually, believe it or not, a great guitar to play. Yes, it's been upgraded, but it was a cheap guitar from AliExpress. 400, 500 bucks. The kicker is though, the EMG headset, $450. All of the other parts obviously cost money together as well. The fretwork cost more money. So all in all, I had to pay Pete $880 for him to fix the fretboard and install all the bits and get them in for me. So let's just round up. The guitar initially was $500. Let's say $450 for the headset, $880 for the handiwork. Doing your math here? What started out as a really cheap impulse buy because I thought that'd be cool has ended up being nearly a $2,000 guitar. Oh, and yeah, like I said, strap locks. This is what the tuning heads look like that came on the guitar when I got it. They're not locking. I don't know if they're good or they're not. That says what? YF4. I don't know what that means. I didn't really give them the time of day, so I don't know if they're quality or not. Definitely prefer the Goto made in Japan locking tuners. They're phenomenal. And in here, these are the EMGs, or rather the fake EMGs that came installed in the guitar when I got it. You can see that EMG logo is way too big and way too thick, and on the back that's what that looks like. I think that's pretty funny. You can see just here there's a couple of fingerprints, so you know, made with care, and there's big empty cavity off to the side there. I don't know what that is all about. Yeah, these were garbage. Absolutely no output. Just did not sound good at all. And to give you an example, this is what a real EMG looks like. So firstly, let's compare the size of that logo. Completely different. And there's the back of the real EMG. That's how the inside of the cavity in the back has ended up. Obviously there is no extra cavity for a battery because this didn't come with EMGs and had those crappy passive pickups. So we've just had to pop that battery down the side, but it fits okay. There's only the two knobs plus the toggle switch. So there was a fair bit of space and all those wires don't take up too much space. That's all right. And as you can see with all of this, like that's the quality of what's going into the work here. Even this panel doesn't quite fit right. Like it gets in there, but that bit there sticks up still. Normally they fit pretty snug, and that is less than snug. But again, you know, that's what I expected, so that's all right. I guess too, if I really wanted to, I could hand it back to him and he could strip it back and give it a nitro finish. That could, you know, make it a little bit more quality. I don't know if I'll bother because it still looks pretty cool the way it is. I don't know. That's a maybe. I was just thinking about that this morning, so maybe. So like I said, it was very neck heavy. So with the strap buttons put in where they were initially, it was neck diving like a crazy, completely unplayable. So I've now moved, like I said, this one up a little bit higher here and this one into the back. Because even with it there, once I'd moved that, it was still a bit neck heavy. And here, to be honest, it is still neck heavy as well, but it's more bearable, and I've got a strap that's leather and it sticks to my clothes, so it doesn't really move around too much. So yeah, if you are considering getting something like this off one of those websites where it's cheap and it seems too good to be true, I'm not gonna lie, it is definitely too good to be true, and you're gonna have to do some work to it. If you know how to do that yourself, man, I mean, go for it. But in my instance, who has no clue how to do that kind of stuff, I had to pay someone else to do it, and it ended up costing me more than the actual price of the guitar. So do not expect something playable. Do expect to get something that needs work, but can end up actually being pretty damn good. selling point for this one is the inlays. It's really cool, the awesome man to wolf graphic, and they've more or less nailed it spot on exactly what Hetfield actually looks like. I have no idea what this material is. I'm not really up on all of my knowledge of fretboard material. Yeah, these are cool. I mean, they're in there. There's no like bits jutting out or anything. The one thing I will also say about the inlays is that when you're sitting and playing and I'm over top of the neck a bit more, I can see the inlays more than I can see the dots on the side of the neck. And they tend to pull focus a little bit. So up here, we've got this guy's kind of 15, 16, but this guy right here is in between 17 and 19. So if I'm doing some solos, I see the marker and that kind of tricks me into thinking that that's the dot, and I tend to fall under the wrong fret there. So that's pretty annoying. But then I was standing up and playing, and when the guitar's a bit lower and it sort of leans forward that little bit, I can see the dots more than I can see the inlays, and then that way I didn't have any issue. So it's definitely a standing lead guitar, not a sitting lead guitar. Not without some hectic practice anyway. May have noticed there that I put my little bit of foam under the strings again because there's still a bit of string noise. I find a lot of guitars do that these days, and that just helps clear it up. You can use a fret wrap. I've got a video here explaining fret wraps if you don't know what I'm talking about. The tones you've been hearing today have come completely from my Axe Effects, and you can get this preset from my website if you like it. So there we go. That's my new Man to Wolf knockoff Explorer. It's going to look sick with the collection, and it's going to look great in my tribute show. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. See you next time.